Hello, welcome to Chanel Reacts, your new source for trending news and topics. Please feel free to subscribe, like, comment, and share my channel for upcoming reactions, reviews, and commentary on the latest drama.
Is Papoose a chronic liar? Let's talk about it. Do Papoose have a history of fabricating stories to fit his narrative? Ever since everything blew up in December of 2024, Papoose has been looked at as the person who was done wrong, the stand-up guy, the person that held Remy down for all of her prison term, and so on and so forth, right? Well, what if Remy came home and found out a whole lot of things that she didn't know? Or maybe she knew some things, but she didn't know the extent of those things. What if when she came home, she found out things about him, but because he was labeled as this stand-up guy, this guy who stuck beside her, she felt stuck. Like she couldn't just leave him alone or walk away because she would not only look like a convicted felon, but she would look like a bad person to the only man in the history of the world, to let everyone tell it, has stayed by a woman's side when she has to, do time. What if he reminded her of that good guy image, or, the way he quote unquote held her down every time she decided that she was tired, or she seemed to be giving up on the situation, or he felt like he was losing control. When everything blew up in December of 2024, and they were going back and forth online, posting text messages and DMs and all of these other things, I never saw one of the very last one of the very last posts that Remy posted. Shout out to Battle Rap Street Team. I really appreciate your your commentary, girl. I really, really appreciate your commentary. I binge watched yesterday. Just throwing that out there. But shout out to you. So basically, Papoose really hated the idea of Remy starting her battle rap league. But that's her origins. That's where she comes from. That's where her introduction into hip hop and everything is battle rap, right? So that would make sense. That would make sense. Okay, but he would not support her in her endeavor. And he ultimately wanted it to fail because he threatened to destroy it. Now, as a husband, you would always want to support your husband, wife's, significant other, spouse. You would want to support your significant other in any endeavor. And it clearly meant a lot to her to be involved in it because she was going to a lot of battles. She was trying to get the gist of how, the new era of battle rap is going on. She was trying to learn from the inside, or whatever the case may be. So it just seems to me that Papoose felt like she was taken away from him. It had nothing to do with her doing the battle rap thing. To me, it seems it had more to do with her focusing on something that had nothing to do with him. It would also seem that Papoose was already off doing whatever he was doing. He had already moved on and had things going on. And Remy was willing to say, okay, you do you and I do me. We stick around for the child. So it doesn't seem abnormal to her. She still keeps her normality, right? But it seems like Papoose was willing to do what he wanted to do, but he was willing to put restrictions on what Remy did. It would also seem that due to his gambling addictions or whatever he had going on, he needed to keep the connection with Remy so he can have access to her finances. That's what it seems like to me. So when he realized that, oh, Remy and Easy were actually a thing, he looked at it from a financial aspect. It wasn't about Remy. Now that I'm really looking at this thing in totality, it wasn't really about Remy. It was what he was losing financially. The access, the resources. That's what he was more concerned about. And he felt if he sabotaged everything that she had going on, she would either come crawling back to him or she would have to need him for something. That's what he was hoping for. The part of this post that really startled and triggered me was when she said that Papoose texted Easy and told Easy that she set him up and texted her and said thanks for setting him up. I think that right there is evidence. That is like the ultimate proof. He didn't care about Remy at all. He didn't care about her at all. Actually, it says to me, you wanted something bad to happen to her, as far as maybe, unalived or put back in prison, because you're still technically her husband. And then what happens? Everything falls to you without you having to be around her. And that's just my assessment. Allegedly. I look back at what Mary J. Blige's ex-husband did to her. I look back at how Cardi B is dealing with Offset. I look back at other situations where the woman is the one with the money and how the man really carries on and, the things that they will do to obtain some of that money instead of just being right and just, or even making your own way for yourself. Like, you a man. The fact that you have to, come at a woman like that, or you think it's okay to come at a woman like that, and then this is the mother of your child. This is your wife. You willing to really put her life in danger like that? You could have got her killed. That's some Philly shit. Like, are you serious? Bro, that told me everything I needed to know right there. If that's the case, yeah, man, you's a foul dude. You's a really foul dude. For real. The part I was least alarmed about was that you went behind her back and went to people in her company and paid them to get information or to put information out there. That's why Geechee Gotti felt so comfortable saying all of the things that he said. He got the information directly from the horse's mouth. He got it from you. That's why he knew so much. It was amazing to me that I said, well, goodness, was he a fly on their wall or something like that? Like, oh my God. It's also alleged that Papoose has a thing with going behind Remy's back trying to sleep with her friends or, making passes at her friends. Let's go back to the X post, Twitter, formerly known as Twitter X, that Papoose was trying to kiss Miss Hustle, right? And now you're dealing with Clarissa Shields, someone who was supposedly befriending Remy. It was supposed to be Remy's little sis, right? She's looking to Remy for advice on fashion, on, whatever else they may have been talking about or whatever. That was her little sis. How you wind up over there? That's what I just be wondering. Like, what is really going on here? And how is it that everybody wants to blame Remy like she is like the devil or she's just a foul person when you have all of these things standing in your face about this guy? So during the interaction that day of all of them posting and everything blowing up, it was someone in Remy's comments or someone in her story, someone that posted something to Papoose, and it was clearly someone that knows him personally, because at the bottom of the post she said, I've been there from the very beginning to the very end. And she made a statement at the bottom like, oh, so you post all your children? You post all of your children? In other words, Papoose has a child that he doesn't even acknowledge. He clearly has not introduced this child to the world. Right? I also happen to be listening to Nyla Says. Shout out to Nyla Says. She does great interviews, and her commentary and her crew over there is just amazing. I love, listening and tuning into those guys over there. Shout out to Nyla Says. But Nyla Says found out some information, allegedly. This is all allegedly. This is all about entertainment. We just rapping and talking, right? So, if you remember Remy saying that Clarissa Shields is not the only woman that Papoose is with. It's a Cali girl. Well, Nyla Says posted some pictures of the Cali girl. Her name is actually the Credit Queen or whatever. I don't know, on social media sites or whatever. I don't know her government name or whatever, but it's ironic. This girl was in Hawaii with them when him and Clarissa was in Hawaii with a Win Records situation, right? This girl was also in Africa with Papoose. When he told Clarissa she couldn't go because she needed a shot to go, well, no, that wasn't the case. She only needed to take some pills to go. But the other woman was there in Africa with him, right? Recently, that woman has given birth to a child. That baby, from the pictures, from the looks in the pictures, that baby cannot be more than 5 or 6 months old. Now, from my understanding, when the baby was newborn, she would post pictures of the baby. But since then, she has stopped posting facial pics of the baby. She just posts neck down pictures of the baby. And she has privated her page. But some is supposedly said that somebody was able to get into the comments of her Instagram page because she made it private. So it's clearly somebody that's already following her or whatever. But it's supposed to be a comment in there like, yeah, Pap. So wouldn't that just be diabolical with all this heat and smoke that Remy is getting right now? Wouldn't this whole situation, if everything is true, wouldn't it absolutely be diabolical? I just want to know, what are your thoughts about it? Because, oh my goodness,